Official patch notes are just released, and just like I said in my leaks video yesterday, we are getting new legendary items for each class, and of course we have few other updates as well. Headlines of this patch are the new legendary items and new battle pass. Other than that, we don't have anything crazy. So let's start with the new legendary items. Legendary items we are going to talk about can only be obtained in Inferno difficulty 2 and above. Alright, first we have Barbarian, Falling Thunder Offhand Essence. Wrath of Berserker now engages you when nearby enemies are bleeding, increasing damage by 6%. Hard Hook Chest Essence. Chain Spear now throws a piercing spear that deals damage over time and causes enemies to bleed, which can stack. Spears can be thrown up to 2 times. Heartless Terror Helm Essence. Demoralize boosts your movement speed, causes damage to surrounding enemies and makes you immune to control and hit effects. Well, this one sounds interesting, just like Monk's Shield of Zen, I guess. And next we have Lion's Mane Main Essence. Demoralize now also detonates the wounds of nearby enemies, immediately resolving any continual damage effects. Tempo Change Pants Essence. Change Spear charges increase by 1. And finally, Ox Horns Shoulders Essence. When Whirlwind hits the same target 3 times, it tears it apart, causing 554 damage per second for 1.5 seconds. Well, it looks like Barbarian getting some cool essences, and it looks like this Heartless Terror Helm Essence is gonna be an interesting one. Next we have Blood Knight. Bloody Concession Pants Essence. While Abomination is active, your primary attacks cause enemies to bleed, dealing 491 damage per second for 3 seconds. Ferryman's Lantern Offhand Essence. Ravage also deals additional 435 damage to bleeding enemies. Indulgent Calligrapher Main Hand Essence. Whirling Strike is now activated up to 3 times, each strike causing enemies to bleed, with the strike knocking enemies into the air. Maybe this one can be used in PvP. And next we have a Helm Essence. Whirling Strike also increases your damage by 10% for 3 seconds. Taste of Copper Shoulders Essence. Swarm of Bats now passively sends Bat to attack bleeding enemies and can be activated to deal damage to nearby bleeding enemies, causing the bats to return and heal you. This one sounds interesting too. And finally we have a Chest Essence. Swarm of Bats also destroy enemy armor, increasing damage dealt by 10% for 3 seconds. And this essence can be used right away with the current PvP builds. And it looks like bleed effects are the theme of this update. And next we have Crusader. First we have a Helm Essence. Consecration now calls intense holy flame that deals damage to yourself and nearby enemies. The damage to yourself part is kinda interesting. And we have an Offhand Essence. Shield Glare now surrounds you in protective light that damages and blinds nearby enemies when attacked. This can be used. And we have a Pants Essence. Shield Charge now causes you to leap to a target location, gathering and damaging nearby enemies. Well, this sounds like a fun essence to use. Next we have a Shoulders Essence called Divine Provocation. Conjuration of Light's cooldown is reduced by 1 second for each attack received while active, triggering up to 4 times. Well, this can be better than the current Shoulder Essence we use for Conjuration of Light, but we need to test it first. And we have a Chest Essence. Conjuration of Light now grants you an Absorb Shield. And finally we have a Main Hand Essence. Receiving damage from an enemy will cause your next Sacred Fire to detonate on hit, dealing 489 additional damage to nearby enemies. Next we have Demon Hunter, and we will start with this Helm Essence. Sentry now summons a Shadow Arrow Tower at the point you designate to attack nearby enemies. And next we have an Offhand Essence. Strafe summons a Shadow to attack nearby enemies. This can be used up to 2 times. And we have a Pants Essence. Activating Vengeance also creates a field for 5 seconds, allowing you and friendly summons to fire up the additional bolt every 0.5 seconds, which causes 279 additional damage. And next we have a Main Hand Essence. Smoke Screen now creates a fog, making you instantly invisible, freeing you from your current crowd control effects while also making you immune to knockback. And next we have a Shoulders Essence. When a knife trap is triggered near a sentry, that sentry gains 30% increased attack speed for 3 seconds. And finally we have a Chest Essence. Vengeance summons your inner demon to continuously attack your target, but no longer passively increases your movement speed. And now we are going to talk about the new Monk Essences. First we have a Shoulders Essence. Wave of Light now protects you and surrounding allies with a large golden bell. Receiving damage while active creates a wave of damage to surrounding enemies. Next we have a Chest Essence. Wave of Light's range is increased by 20%. And we have an Offhand Essence. Mystic Strike charges increased by 1. And after that we have a Pants Essence. Mystic Strike now throws soul energy dealing damage when it hits an enemy and summoning a phantom to continuously attack the enemy. And after that we have a Helm Essence called Neckbreaker. Inner Sanctuary now increases movement speed and primary attack damage for the player and their summons. And finally we have a Main Hand Essence. Mystic Ally summons 2 spiritual entities that utilize Soulfire and Wind to attack the enemy. Wait, isn't that Soulfire Necromancer's primary attack? This sounds weird. And next we have our favorite class, Necromancer. First we have an Offhand Essence. Command column applies vulnerability effect to surrounding enemies, increasing the damage they receive by 8%. Next we have a Shoulders Essence. Skeletal mage damage is increased by 10% up to 40% for each different damage effect active on the enemy. And next we have a Chest Essence. Bone Armor applies as a cloak of frost to you and your summons, damaging and chilling nearby enemies. And after that we have a Helm Essence. Common Skeleton summons rotting zombies, damaging and slowing nearby enemies. And we have a Pants Essence. When active, Bone Armor also increases critical hit rate by 20%. And it looks like Necromancer hype is never gonna slow down. Man, this is a really good essence. And finally we have a Main Hand Essence. Bone Spear destroys enemy armor, increasing critical hit damage dealt within 3 seconds by 35%. Which is gonna work in sync with that new pants. This is looking really cool. And I'm really liking the other essences that slows enemies too. We are gonna come up with new builds for Necromancer for sure. And finally we have Wizards. And let's start with the Chest Essence. One more CC for Wizards. It's never a good sign, but let's see. Next we have a Shoulders Essence. Disintegrate releases a sapphire of energy that attacks enemies in range and dissolves their armor. And after that we have a Helm Essence. Slow time now increases your attack speed, movement speed, and the rate at which skill area effects and continual damage resolve. And next we have an Offhand Essence. Lightning Nova's cooldown is reduced by 15%. And then we have a Pants Essence. Disintegrate cooldown is reduced by 1 second each time it hits a target, up to maximum of 3 seconds. And finally we have a Main Hand Essence. Magic Missile triggers an explosion for every 3 magic missiles that hits an enemy, which causes 1.1k damage to the area. But I'm not really familiar with the wizard builds right now, so I'm not sure if they are good or bad. And now we can move on to the feature updates. Season 2 Challenge Rifts concludes and introduces Season 3 on November 6th. With Season 3, the maximum Challenge Rift level has increased to 450. And after that we have Immortal weekly reward changes. Vault rewards have improved chances of rewarding improved gear. Players are no longer required to add items to the vault with Challenge Rifts. Items will be added to the vault at 3 AM server time on Monday and Saturday automatically. That's perfect. The gear available will be proportionate to the class distribution among Immortals. And next we have some battleground changes. Based off community feedback, we noticed players were keen to receive their end of season rewards before the season's end occurs. To change this, we are including more rewards on ranking up. Players will now receive Reforge stones every time they rank up until they reach legendary rank. We have also changed the queuing for Battleground to ensure that if a queued player is no longer online, they will be removed from the current queue to prevent the match from failing to start. Which is good to hear, but we don't have any information about playing with more servers in Battleground, so I guess that was not true. And after that we have some stuff about Reliquary Boss and Daylight Savings for Europe. They are not that important. And next we have Fractured Plane adjustments. Countdown chests now drop legendary gems. Set item bonuses can now be gained as blessings. The chance of finding blessing and challenge rooms has increased. And they kinda buff legendary affixes and blessings. And now let's check out this promo video for Season 19 Battle Pass. And I think they are looking pretty ugly. No need to say much about the new Battle Pass. It's always the same thing every season. And after that we have some returning events like Shady Stock, Conqueror, Adventurers Pet limited time events, and that's all. And finally we have region specific game additions. Inactive player dungeon removal feature. A vote to kick function has been added to each dungeon party. When a player is inactive in a game for a long period of time, other players can select the player's avatar and initiate a vote for them to be removed. So we are not getting this feature right away, but we are gonna get it on the next update. And that's all for this update. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you happy or you are not satisfied with this update? Let me know and take care.